thing? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes pass 4-0, 3-0, sorry.
Is-
Where's Mary? He's here in spirit.
Is Roger recording?
You can come forward.
Yeah.
Or
She presenting something?
Mm.
Oh, okay, so she'll introduce herself. Okay.
Yeah.
You're being recorded.
Okay. Usually it says on. All right,
okay,
I guess it's all good.
we're ready. Come up.
Welcome.
You. All right. So yeah, this is for the Council on Aging fiscal year 2027 budget. The only increases we had are for full-time wages and part-time wages, which we did the COLA and one step. Everything else roughly stayed the same. I did add more for contracted services. Our instructors fall under that, so they've kind of increased by like $10 per class consistently. So I built in a little bit more for that, as well as our veterans breakfast, moving more to a catered event, or more outside restaurant food instead of making it in a serve safe kitchen. And then I took away from the gas on the van to make up for that increase. It's roughly $73 a week right now, so it's about $3,600 for the year, I think. As long as we don't start running it super crazy. And then if we did, we wouldn't have to use any more of a budget, because we do have our grant are from MCOA, that we get the formula grant. So we could take from that if we run over a little bit on the gas. So went up 5,283 from last year. And that's only in personnel.
Do you have any other supplementals or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
Nope.
So I know last year was the big question was the whole van driver. So how is that going this year?
So we were really just able to get it up and running in December. So we don't have any real hard data yet. But it seems to be that we have 1 to 2 people riding every Tuesday and Thursday for physical therapy. And then we do have some other appointments coming in. We have had a few people go to the grocery store. One person wanted to go to Northborough Crossing. So we've had 15 riders. I gotta get this right. 6 riders in 18, 19, 22 rides. So it can definitely improve. We have room for improvement for making that 19-hour. But we just haven't grown it yet with the last couple months. So hopefully we can get it up to, the 19 hours and then getting somebody on for the Monday as well. Friday is to be determined because I don't work on Fridays. And so we're kind of trying to figure out what that would look like, if it's on call work or if it's changed my hours. So I'm here on Fridays if we wanted to get it in service. But right now we're sticking to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then if somebody really needs a Monday, we're able to accommodate that eventually. We're waiting on a Corey and a physical from somebody. So
Do you need a special license to drive?
no,
Oh.
it's just a regular Class D license. Do you know anybody else that wants to drive?
I might. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, yep. It's just a regular old license. Nothing No
Would it
special
be every
needed.
Monday, or they would just be like, if you needed it, like you could know it, like.
Ideally,
like a
we would know,
substitute,
we would
like,
know 48 hours in
in
advance.
advance. Yeah.
Yep, so by Thursday afternoon, we would know
If
if
you
we
had a
need it for
scheduled ride on
Monday.
Monday.
Yep, yeah,
to know.
so yeah, if you know anybody, pass it along and, yeah, it's still open to possibility for that, but yeah, we have a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right now that is running, so,
And 6 riders.
yeah, yeah.
What's our elderly population? It must be
Lot.
high.
958
Okay.
seniors, yes,
About a third.
yep.
Yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
thought.
Don't be
Yeah.
saying bad things. about people.
I work in senior living. We're married.
So right now, there's also it's really a grant, or it was the extended service from, what was it, from Metro?
Oh,
Plus or whatever.
Catch Connect,
Yeah.
yeah.
Catch Connect. That's still running through this whole
it is.
fiscal year.
It is running, but that is not senior specific. That is for the whole town to use. And feedback from our seniors, was that it wasn't really ideal for them to be using for medical appointments and such, because it's an on call. So they have to call when they're ready to get picked up, and then they're told like 20 minutes, or it could be 40 minutes. And then they get picked up. Now they're late for their appointment. And then they can't set up a ride to return until they're done with their appointment. So when they get out of their appointment at 1, now they have to call Catch Connect and get that return ride back. So it was seniors making 2 to 4 phone calls for every ride. And sometimes it just wasn't due to traffic in other areas wherever the van was or the bus was. They just weren't getting to appointments on time. And they do, where ours is curb to curb, door to door, Catch Connect actually does bus locations. So they say Apex, but it's at the bus stop at Apex. One stop, pick up, one stop, drop off. And so if they're wanting to go to Friendlies, they have to figure out how to get themselves to Friendlies. And some of our seniors just aren't that mobile, but they still want to go out and have lunch or enjoy a movie or whatever with their friends. Or just a medical appointment. That's where you're dropping them in the center, and they have to figure out how to get to their physical therapist or whatnot on their own. So there's still some walking and stuff involved. Where we say, this is when we're picking you up. This is when we're picking you up from the other place. You'll be home by 2:15. So it's more reliable, is the feedback that we were getting from people that have taken the Catch Connect. So, and I think some of that is dependent upon the driver as well. You know, they were saying one driver dropped them at the location that they wanted to go to, but then the next time they took it, they were dropped off at the bus station. They were like, this is where we bring you. So they did, depending upon who they get, they don't really know if they'll get the ride to where they're going or just at the stop. So for some people, that was not ideal for them. So.
Kristen, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
I did. I wanted to ask if Melissa could speak to the grant that we received for the van, and the fact that I believe those funds are being used right now, and how long that grant is for.
Yes, they are being utilized right now. It runs through the end of 26 fiscal year, so June 30th. We have to use the money by then. And it is a reimbursement, so we have to pay it up first, and then they will give us the money back. That was a SIG grant that I got through MCOA for transportation. It was 23,000, and it goes for anything for the van. I had sent in a proposal, and so it covers everything.
Even the driver cost.
Yep, it will do payroll. It will do any repairs, which is nice because we just had to replace the fuel line. So yeah, it covers all of that first. So again, this fiscal year, we won't really touch any of the budget from 26, but we won't have that necessarily for 27. So
Good work. Thank you.
thank you.
That's all I had. Melissa and I sat down, went through the budget, and I know there's been ongoing discussions about the number of hours associated with the position. I know Melissa and Linda Robinson, who are the chair of COA, are going to be meeting with the personnel committee at a to be determined upcoming meeting to have that conversation. You know, the van just getting up and running doesn't at this time have a hugely high usership or ridership at this point. But I think the work that Melissa's been doing with the veterans breakfasts and the exercise classes and the different events that have been happening have been seeing an increase in participation. And I know Melissa's been tracking all of that, but I've certainly seen it grow as I've been able to attend those events, especially the breakfasts. So I do believe there is a need. I think the word is out there. There's strong marketing and nothing grows overnight, but I have seen growth, and I still do believe that it makes sense to have a full-time person in that position. That's all I had.
Thanks.
And the question with the grant, you got 23,000.
Mhm.
If you don't use all of that by the end of the fiscal year, is it all?
It's
returned to
gone.
the state? Or-
They take it right back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then, you know, obviously we would try to use it not frivolously, but, you know, we want to make sure we are using it in the event that if we apply for another one, if we don't use it, they're going to look at us and say, well,
We're not gonna
that wasn't
use
a
it.
good
Mm.
project to invest in. So, I do think that I think with the health insurance changes, I do think that will be more riders signing up because Medicaid, will not be providing as many rides as they were for people. So, I think it will increase ridership eventually, but just hasn't hit yet.
Is that change still coming, or is it,
January 1st, it's.
it just started?
It just started. Yeah. Yep.
So
Their,
the
the
second,
health plans
second
are
half of the
changing.
year, people are gonna be looking for more resources to get
Yeah.
medical
Yeah.
stuff done.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, that came out of them.
Yeah.
When is the grant good till?
The grant is till the end of June, so
This year.
5 more months-ish, but yeah. That will probably increase, I would say, the ridership. Because right now they just fill out the PT1 form and they can get a ride. And if they're losing that, then they have no way to get to their medical appointments and stuff like that. So I think it'll definitely pick up for some people.
Maybe good to get the van in for a checkup before the end to see if there's something that.
That they
you
can
know,
fix with that
yes,
money. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
that
And
should be
still
like-
going, oh,
Yeah.
Right, it-
Does
Yeah.
it need new tires?
Yes.
I was just thinking of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The van needs a good checkup.
Yeah.
Good checkup.
I think there's 24,000 miles on it.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Not, yeah, there's not that much for 2020 thing, yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, send it into the shop and get a full
Yeah.
service tune up and
For a little bit too.
it did, yeah, yeah, I mean, it definitely sat for the better part of 9 months, which I think is probably why periodically taking it out wasn't enough to keep that fuel line as good as it should have been, but
Do we have a logo on it?
oh well.
A logo?
Oh, yes,
It's
sorry.
okay.
Yes, there's a sticker on the back and it
And it
says
says
Berlin Council on Aging,
And
yeah,
it's
on
a full-
both sides.
Okay.
Yep.
I've seen it at 19 Carter.
Yeah, we,
There was somebody that used to use that service
yeah,
couple, not last year, year before.
year
maybe.
before,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, we can bring them anywhere, you know, you can bring them to the library, we can bring them to the grocery store if they want to get their hair cut. It's however they need to use it. It's important for socialization too, you know, so.
That's my point.
I think it's a good service. I certainly understand, you know, the questions on it in the money in the budget, but, if we can get it back to what it was and build that trust back with the people of showing up on the right dates at the right time and giving them the rides, I think it could be a really, really good thing for the seniors.
Is the only qualification for use is age based?
Yes. Yep, they just have to be 60. We could do under 60 if they have a disability.
Okay.
But yeah, and I mean, they can bring somebody with them too. So it's, if they need to have a ride along person, they just need to let me know that they have them plus one. And we just make sure that we have 2 spaces for them on the van. But yeah, that's the only, it's not income based. It's a free service. We suggest a donation, but they don't have to, it's just a suggested. So, where some of the rides, you know, they were putting, you know, if they're taking Ubers and Lyfts, you know, it was costing some of our seniors $10-15 to get to Worcester and then $10-15 back on the cheap end. So, yeah, it's a little bit easier to write us a check for $10 and send it in as a donation, but yeah, and they know the driver, you know, it's not somebody different all the time. That builds the reputation with us and with the town, so.
For the disability, could that be just something that's temporary? I mean, if somebody broke their ankle and
Yeah.
is laid up for 8 weeks or
Yeah,
something?
I would say if they don't have transportation, I mean, I don't know if that's maybe more my call, but I would say if we can help somebody, to help them. Regardless, you know, that's everybody trying to figure out, you know, a parent or guardian or somebody else giving them a ride. If we can do it, I think we should be able to provide that. Yep.
All right, any other
Okay.
questions?
No, no.
Anything, Kristen?
No, I'm all set. Sorry.
Okay, you're all set? Okay.
Didn't realize I was muted.
Second letter.
Yes.
Okay,
All right,
Great, thank
thank
you.
you guys. Have a
Nice
good
to
night.
meet you.
You too. See you.
So we can't see her, we only hear Kristen.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we should be looking at her. right? Yeah, sorry, Scott, I got caught up in Worcester with something. I couldn't, I
oh, that's okay.
didn't even get back to my house. I don't have my
You just
computer or
missed-
nothing.
You just missed the minutes, so it was really. Okay,
And we see Melissa, I think it's weekly or monthly at 19 Carter. She has regular hours for people to check in on.
Come in and ask questions.
Yeah, or just update people and, which is nice outreach.
Mhm.
so the Board of Health will also be in, right? Like,
Yes, to
They're
the
on
best of my knowledge, yes.
the agenda. Do you want to, Kristen, do we want to just look over the stuff that was sent from Recreation, or how do you want to handle that?
It's up to you. The Board of Health should be here momentarily. I did speak with them today, so I know that they are coming. I leave it to the FinCom how they would like to handle recreation. I still have some questions and concerns. You know, just so everybody is aware, we did invite them back in October when we submitted the budget, and I sent a follow-up email several weeks ago. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but there is a position that has gone unfilled for a number of years. I understand it has now received sign off from the Personnel Committee, and Dee in our office is working to get it advertised. But we really need to have somebody in that position if the projects are to continue to go forward, because there are a number of CPA projects and pavilion project, playground, and field renovation project that have fallen to our office that we really don't have the capacity to handle continuing on going forward. But I really did want to have a discussion as to what their plans were. Initially, it was a director position. They had changed it to a coordinator position. But there just hasn't been a lot of dialogue. So I think it would be really beneficial to have them in, if that might be possible.
Okay, well, we'll definitely try. So that's the coordinator position is the part-time position that they were looking at for, I think it was originally like 10 hours
Yes,
a week.
yes.
That
And
position still is, we've had nobody in that position since we've added to the budget.
no, so there was a person who was offered the position but failed to complete onboarding. And after that, the Recreation Committee decided they wanted to retool the position and turn it into something different. And it has just now passed at Personnel, I believe, 2 weeks ago.
Okay. And the expectation is that person would be helping with well, besides just activities, but also the CPA projects that are all stalled.
Yeah, the expectation is that that person wouldn't be doing programming activities per se. That would be recreation. They would be handling operations like an employee would be in terms of payroll, processing invoices, helping get projects off of the ground. Obviously, the procurement piece still needs to come from the town's office, but we would need help with contracting and quotes. There are annual maintenance contracts that they have. You know, a number of things that, you know, on the HR side, when they're onboarding folks for their summer programs, that it would be very beneficial to have a staff person who was in the office for a set period of hours per week that would be able to assist with some of those day-to-day operations, really an admin person, like we have for other departments.
Okay. And also I understand there's 3 projects, right? That are kind of installed with this, 2 of them CPA related, one being the pavilion or whatever you want to call it. That was going to be built at South Common. The other being I guess the resodding and the irrigation of the fields at South Common, and the third being replacement of the playground.
Yes, so I haven't received the final bid docs back for the pavilion yet. I know Bob Holmes had written them. There are some changes he needed to make to them. I've been waiting on those for a few months. And unfortunately, given my departure at the beginning of March, those are projects I will not be able to get out to bid before I leave.
Okay, so none of these 3 projects are out to bid yet?
No, I've been waiting for sign off and a scope of work and a bid docs from Recreation for some over a year.
Okay, and now I know you mentioned the ARPA funds. I wasn't aware of the playground one. I know through the CPA was the pavilion. At one point, they had gone before the select board to ask for more money to keep that going with ARPA funds. So there's partial ARPA funds that are in jeopardy with the pavilion also?
Not the pavilion, just the playground. There's $180,000 for the playground that is set forth in the ARPA funds that have to be used by the end of the year. We wrote the scope. The scope went back to the committee. They just sent me the approved scope, I believe, on Thursday.
Unfortunately, I missed, your voice is a little soft, but regarding the pavilion, you said there's no ARPA funds in jeopardy on that one? Because I know that at one point they had come back to the select board because they wanted to do some extra stuff, and they had awarded, or at least they allowed them to go with the higher expenses. Is that something changed on that?
No, there weren't ARPA funds for the pavilion, just the playground. The pavilion
Okay,
is all
the ARPA
CPA
funds are just for
funded.
the playground. And the ARPA funds have to be spent by what date?
The end of this calendar year.
So they have to be spent by the end of this calendar year. Is that part of the set of ARPA funds that the town had received, or is that some different set of funds?
Nope, that's part of the original almost $1 million that the town received that the board broke into 23 projects.
Okay, and this, and the total for that playground was how much?
$180,000.
Okay, so we're in jeopardy of losing close to 20% of our
Yes.
ARPA funds if we don't have that finished by the end of the year.
Yep. I've done everything I can to move it forward.
Okay. All right.
June, are those projects attached to this? You've got this screen, right?
No.
Do not-
Scott's
yeah,
got it.
This is what was in the,
Well, I just wanted to page down to the bottom, Scott, of what was on there, just to,
this one here.
yeah, I don't know whether the things you were just talking about are all listed,
So you got
go
this
past the payroll,
Potential salary,
blah, blah.
here's what the
Expenses.
different expenses are,
Kristen, were all 3 of these items
trash and recycle.
during the fiscal year 2026 budget process, or do they go further back than that?
Oh, much further. The recreation director was put in the FY 24 budget,
It's
I
not in there.
believe. And the CPA projects go back several years. Also, the ARPA funding goes back several years as well.
Okay, thank you. I thought so. I thought especially the pavilion project was further back than that.
Yeah, that's gone to town meeting a couple of times.
Okay.
So, Scott, I'd be in favor of seeing if we can get another date for recreation to come in. So, and then I can have my homework done and better understand these projects.
Yes, can you work with that, Kristen? See if they can get another date in. Now,
I
they
can
indicated
try.
they can't do
They're
Wednesday
not-
at all.
Apparently, they're not available on Wednesdays, so I'm not really sure how
Well,
that's going to work. I think they
One
were
of the
just
rec
trying
persons
to.
works Wednesday night. Sorry, Kristen.
That's okay.
But there's 2 other people on the committee, so we might be able to talk to somebody. I think we ought to try anyway.
Yes. Yes,
I wouldn't give up without an attempt.
yeah.
Yeah. I
we can
think
see if
Scott,
we can
since
get
they
one of
reached,
those other two.
yeah, Scott, since they reached out to you directly, honestly, I've done all I can at this point. I would recommend you reach out to them and invite them to come back.
I'll do that, Kristen.
Thank
Do
you.
you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, can table that topic, and now we can go to the Board of Health.
Good evening.
Hi there.
Questions?
Questions? Yeah, no, the budget's perfect, like always.
Yeah,
You
always.
know, Stan knows all our secrets, so we can't,
That's the problem.
we can't do the usual tricks with
Nope.
him.
We pay him under the table for that
Uh,
expertise.
yeah. And he's
Where's
got
that
it,
line
he's
item?
got it all.
It's on the back of the page, small print.
All right,
Uh,
want to start with just the Board of Health budget?
why don't you let Heidi know who everybody, I guess you know everybody, do you
I
know
know who
everybody?
they are, so I did write them down.
Okay, all right. Sometimes it's a mystery, yeah. How about you, Sheena? Do you know?
There's
everybody?
no-
He's like to be a
Why don't you
mystery.
say Sheena Bryan.
Documented, even if there wasn't video.
Hi, I'm Stan Rogolinski.
Nice to meet you,
Nice to meet you.
Sheena.
Paul McKelk, hi Sheena.
I am Valerie Muldoon. Nice to meet you.
All right,
Are you guys still one member short? Or do you-
We are,
Yeah.
so we can put that
Hey, I'm not just
advertisement. on
asking the
Valley.
question. Don't stop, just stop grilling me.
Turn your hat around, Steve.
Yeah.
Stan is,
Can't.
That's right, you can't.
These people cannot, but you know people that might be able to serve.
You and your no
Finance
people.
committee.
all right, just go through the Board of Health lines first. So if they have note here, you see the part-time wages going down slightly.
so this here is just.
Did you
for the,
reduce the number of hours?
No. If you go up
Oh.
one more,
Oh,
I'll
up
show
one,
you what-
oh, down.
downward, sorry.
My head doesn't turn that way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Huh.
Did you add more hours to the transfer station as opposed to the Board of Health budget? Or was the salary changed? I'm just trying to figure out why it's going down.
On the Board of Health, the salary changes, no salary.
No
Board of Health.
salaries, that is not.
Oh,
This is just the admin. So,
Okay, maybe just,
And the admin hourly rate went down with the new hire.
oh, it's a new hire,
Oh,
okay.
that's
There
what
we
it
go.
was.
That's what it
That's,
is.
so just a
Yeah.
lower.
Yep.
Over
starting
last
point.
year's.
Okay,
That's
all
right.
right,
Thank you.
Cause you're still looking for 315 hours or still.
Mhm.
all right, and then doing here, moving, eliminating the telephone, or what's the,
Well, we no longer have a telephone at the transfer station because we went with Starlink,
okay,
so for our communication purposes. So there was the addition of the Starlink cost, which is 80 something a month or whatever. But no telephone.
okay,
We get telephone through Starlink, but nothing through
Okay.
9X or whatever it is.
right,
you're dating yourself with 9X
Well, I should be dated.
Atlantic Vowel.
I should be
Are you-
dated. Check the bottom of my feet, you'll find out.
You know, right?
all right, then just some adjustments on the supplies, which are all small dollar amounts here. Okay. Anything else on the, this you want to highlight?
There is a supplemental funding request. I just wanted to add about landfill capping for $150,000. There's also going to be landfill monitoring ongoing and testing from what I understand. Paul and I spoke briefly. I was recommending that be a separate standalone article at town meeting because that's how I'm used to seeing it. And that way you don't always know what it's going to cost for that year. So it doesn't impact your budget. It could come from free cash and it could roll over from year to year, and you could just replenish the article when it is depleted, similar to what we started this year with the maintenance article.
Sure. Kristen, is a supplemental request, did it land in our budget folder or no?
I think I just saw you flip through it. It's sideways. It's FY, it looks like, oh, that might be
It was at the
28.
Board
I'm
of Ed.
sorry. That was the,
Actually, it'll be on the transfer station.
yes,
Okay,
you're right.
good.
I was looking at the 5-year outlook that had FY 28 landfill capping in there, June. I saw it come through sideways.
So you'd like to recommend a separate article for the capping and for the monitoring?
I would, and when we talk about transfer station, that's another piece of it. I noticed in here though, just, as we were going through the Board of Health specifically in the 5-year outlook, they had the FY 28 request for the landfill closure per DEP that could be estimated to be $150,000. And especially if that's a one-time expense, my recommendation was we put an article together for that in FY 28 when we get there. My understanding is there's also some monitoring we need to discuss in the transfer station budget as well.
That number come from that one?
That number is new to me.
That 150, where's?
Anyway.
Is that for going or is that?
That would be special article. Based on what Kristen just said, so it would be a
Right.
special
I
article,
put
and
in
as you
some-
know,
I put in a supplemental request.
Yep.
2 of them, one for hazardous waste, which we're not talking about right now. The other was for the landfill. We still have work to do under the first contract with Tie and Bond, which is capped at $12,000. That will take care of Tie and Bond. The next step from DEP is going to require a different bundle of money, because they're going to ask us to put in monitoring wells for water quality, water monitoring, gas monitoring, and we do not know how many wells they're going to ask for, so it's fundamentally impossible to estimate what that cost is going to be at this point. That is going to be generated by the results of this first step from DEP, which is not completed. We ran out of good weather. Will be completed in the spring, which is uncovering or determining the actual parameters of the landfill, and the depth of the cap material on the landfill. That's pretty much covered by the Tie and bond quote of about $12,000, which is not a line item or anything else, but we felt we could probably deal with that out of revolving fund. The next step is not addressed financially, because we're just grabbing a number out of the air, because we don't know what the DEP specs are going to be yet. And we're not going to know those till, I'm going to say, probably around town meeting time, maybe a little after, give or take.
Having said that, they didn't find anything unusual in their test holes, right?
No, nothing unusual, other than the last test hole they dug, they found out that there was landfill material beyond what was previously known. So, and that resulted in we have to dig 9 more test holes just to draw a firm line on the extent of the landfill.
To determine the perimeter,
Yes,
they realize.
the extent, how wide or,
Yeah.
long, how far the landfill material actually goes on that plot of land.
They pretty much just found tin, steel, and metal.
Yeah, a tire,
Yeah, I
some
mean,
glass.
that-
They
they'll have
really didn't
materials,
find much
yeah.
in all but the last test hole they dug, which was on the Jones Road side toward the wetland.
Oh, you think that's what would dictate the monitoring
That's,
levels? And-
that's where, it's already been determined we need to dig
dig
9 more
further.
test holes along that side of the landfill. So 3/4 of it is determined and 1/4 is not.
Do you know what type of timeframes they would have for that? I mean, once you got past this point, is there a known thing if they'd expect?
No, but because it's a small landfill within their jurisdiction, we've been closed since 1983. It's not a high pressure situation. They've been, frankly, pretty easy to work with so far. I mean, they're calling the shots, but they're not giving us, due dates or anything like that. So we've got flexibility. I think their concern is as long as we're moving forward with this whole process, we're in pretty good shape. So far, I haven't been able to negotiate DEP down on number of holes or anything like that, but it hasn't been exorbitant from my experience. And, I think they realize because early on, I said, you guys want to look at our landfill. I'm more concerned about the old Hudson landfill. It's off of Gates Pond Road. So they paid attention to that, and they've invested time and energy to make sure that that one's copacetic. So they know we have 2 in town, and the old Hudson one was kind of an industrial landfill. Ours was residential agricultural. Probably little or no hazardous industrial waste per se. Because I know when Chedco, one of the things you could say about orchards is arsenic and all that, but years ago, Chedco had their own little dumping area. So I don't think they used the Berlin landfill to speak of, really.
Does or is Berlin going to incur any expenses attached to the Hudson Gates Pond Road?
No,
Or-
no.
Or Gates
At this
Pond?
point, I would say absolutely not.
Okay. I didn't know if it was determined by
Hud-
location
Hudson
versus ownership.
technically owns that. It should be their responsibility. I actually walked that site, I guess it was last spring. And the Hudson Health agent, evidently she was new. She didn't even know they had a landfill in Berlin, so. But they did have vents and things like that already installed, so they were along in the game with DEP requirements.
Do you know when that one was closed? Not even older than?
That was probably, and I'm not sure, I'm gonna say it was probably closer to 1990. It was after we closed
It was
ours.
after.
Off the Gates Pond, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, there's a gate off of Gates Pond that goes down to, I think it's a water pumping station or something, and that's the entrance into the landfill.
On road.
Yeah.
not the pond.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Cause that's Taylor Road.
Is that towards River Road, that end of Gates Pond, or is it closer? Marlboro. Marlboro Road. Marlboro
Mo-
Road,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
So it is
Yeah.
down in that direction. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that basically comes down to stand by and wait to see what's.
Unfortunately, yes. I give you numbers, but they'd be just total guesstimates.
Kristen, are we doing that as like a holding spot on the town meeting for a special article?
For the landfill, yes.
Okay.
I should be able to get an approximate cost for the engineering aspect of that by Ty and Bond, because we have to have a certified engineering firm involved in this process. And I've had conversations with them about, you got to give me some kind of rough idea of what this next step is going to cost for you guys. Not necessarily, that doesn't include bringing in the test hole boring companies and all that. I have their daily rates, but again, not knowing how many test holes we have to do, it's just a dice roll.
Okay, any more on that?
No, I don't think so.
All right, move to the transfer station.
Something more.
That's right.
Yes. Well, the gossip is. I mean,
That's also true.
All right, anything we want to highlight here? Wages? Are you just moving stuff away from the revolving, what was it? Are you moving to the revolving fund for part-time wages?
Current year, fiscal year 20, what year am I in? 26,
Mm,
I think.
mhm.
We did have it separated where we had 48,000 that came out of the regular town line items. And we did have an additional 12,000 that was earmarked coming out of the revolving, so that way there, if there was extra hours that were needed,
Mhm.
that we couldn't help offset because of the line items and all the cuts that were made. That if you had the extra funding there, you could also use the wages there.
Okay.
So more or less, those dollars have been just moved to the part-time wages instead of the part-time wages revolving. Like. Okay, which results just in the $643 total increase.
One of the questions I had on this was the goal of doing the revolving fund was to try to keep expenses that were aligned with the transfer station in the revolving fund and out of the operating budget. But it looks, and I just want to make sure I understand. So you're shifting $12,000 from revolving to the operating budget for wages and also another 13,000 in expenses to the operating budget?
For 13,000, which is primarily almost all trash disposal.
Because it looks like there that we were only gonna use the 145,000 out of revolving.
And how much did we use last year? 187?
Yes.
Okay. Was there not enough in revolving fund revenues to cover that, or does it look like there's not going to be enough in FY 26? I'm just trying to understand the shift in funds.
Answer it.
From what we've seen, there should be enough in the revolving fund, but
Yeah, I'm not sure if can I speak?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I'm
Jump
sorry.
right in.
No,
Val.
I didn't know what was appropriate.
We're not real formally.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So really, we had put all of that into the full part-time wages only because I wasn't part of the budget process last year, so we didn't know how they figured out the offset number. So it's not that we're opposed to using revolving funds for the rest of the wages. We just didn't know how it got figured out. And that was one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight. Was just, how that worked.
How you
Um,
prepare this budget sheet with the consideration that you're gonna do some revolving fund offset, but where do you indicate it and what does it mean? And
Correct. So
Yeah,
what we
okay.
didn't know was that figure because we did not understand how the 48,331 and the 12,116 had gotten determined for FY 26.
So I can speak a little to that if it's helpful, because I worked with Sue and Donna on that before they left. The idea was an increase in hours for the position in the office, and that the bulk of that increase was coming from transfer station work. So we had amended the revolving fund to allow part-time wages to come out of revolving so that we could increase the hours for the position. I believe Donna was initially at 10 hours, but we added the extra hours to bring it up to no more than 19 total from the revolving fund. So the operating budget would not take that hit because the revolving fund is bringing in that money, and it's also causing more work on the administrative side. So that was what was making sense. You could actually take it out of the revolving fund rather than take it out of the operating budget because it was transfer station specific.
So I think what we were looking for was to keep the part-time wages, not the revolving, the part-time wages line the same, but also we're mindful of everybody's increase. But also the position I'm in, the admin position, even with the step increases, it's still not the same that my predecessor was making. So there still is less there. So really just, we were really looking for what we were already given in addition to just what the step increase was going to be. And then again, take the rest out of the revolving as needed.
I think if you went to the sheet where it has the dollars that are allocated. And if you,
Right here?
yeah, so I don't know if you would get a total here from just from the step increases and cost of living, or
Okay,
not really
total.
put it at the.
Yeah, it's.
Thank
it's
you.
all in there.
With the overall totals.
Oh,
Did you have that, did you have that calculation of what the what the cost of living in the step numbers were? So how much they add to it?
Mhm.
So how much do they add to it?
Oh, no, no, no. I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah.
No, I did not do that. I thought you meant the sheet, the worksheet.
No.
Well, can we assume that this is where it's adding to it, right?
No,
here?
'cause no, because the cost of living in the steps are probably 3 or 4 grand. I mean, it's probably
Okay,
somewhere between 3 and 5 would be my guess.
Right. You had a reduction in the salary though that helps to offset that too. Because it looks like your part-time wages sheet comes out to $61,090. So it really looks like the main difference is where those funds are coming from, if they're coming out of the operating budget or if they're coming part out of the operating and part out of the revolving. There's a slight increase, but it looks like your hours for some of those positions and rates are different if you look at that part-time payroll, the part-time hourly payroll budget worksheet.
If you flip down to
Go back
the,
down, sorry.
this one here. Yeah.
where's the hours listed?
Right, so if you looked at
Okay.
the difference between FY 26 and FY 27, I mean, you're at 50 cents an hour, at 70 cents an hour. Another 50 cents an hour,
50 cents, yeah.
and then very similar, actually, yeah, so another 50 cents. How you do that cumulatively and what we had, and then we had the total hours, which.
Because I was gonna say, this one here is this year's. This is gonna be the new rate with just the COLA, and this here is with the step
With the step.
increase.
Oh,
is
right,
this
and then
one
right,
here.
and then that's right.
So this one here, so technically, if it's only going up $600, there is like you said, as far as the, your person before that was making more an hour.
Hmm.
So that's why it wasn't quite, as large of a increase. And the only other thing is that it looks like that because we're not taking any money out of the revolving to help offset, the total costs in the budget for the wages. If you look at, if you can go back up to the budget form. It looks like you're increasing the overall budget of the 600 up there, but also the 13 overall.
Overall.
It looks like it's going up another 13, which looks like it's mostly the cost of the trash disposal.
Right,
And it, right here, you're showing the 145 is coming out, which is where you started in last year's budget. And then adjustments were made afterwards. So right now you're saying that there's availability of the 145 available in the revolving fund versus here it was higher.
the plan is to apply less from the revolving fund than we did in this year's
This
budget
current year.
for next year.
I don't know what your thoughts are. I know that you've taken extra money from the revolving to cover the costs of the
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 landfill stuff.
yeah.
Do we have any information on how much we've brought into the revolving so far in FY 26?
You have our calculations.
Yeah,
One
I'd
moment,
like to be in
please.
the hall and see if anybody has a pair of shoes for you.
no, I think I'll be all right. I think I can use my writing. It's just little writing.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, you got your
Um,
notes. there.
I do have my notes.
She's prepared.
To date, I believe we've brought in about 153,000.
Okay. And I know you bring in a lot up front with the stickers. Do you
Right,
have
the-
any rough idea what you might bring in for the rest of the fiscal year?
No more than 10.
As I was gonna say, we're gonna have to keep a really close eye on it because you can't spend the revolving unless you actually have it. Even though you've been authorized to spend it, if you don't physically have it, you can't spend money you don't have, so.
Right.
That's gonna be something definitely this year. We're gonna have to keep an close eye on.
Right.
So you brought in 153,000 to like end of January, or how up to date was that? Or-
Yes, from July 1st to Monday.
Oh,
It was
okay.
100, we
Through-
brought in,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
And for to the end of the year, there'll probably be about another 10,000 in miscellaneous.
Oh.
Things go into the open top container, rugs,
Right.
bureaus, whatever. And, can revenue, metal revenue, fabric revenue. So maybe another 10,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
So
So-
you would be looking at 165.
Was this the first year we did the revolving?
Yes.
This current year that we're in, right? Or was it a
No,
year?
last year?
Second
We did
year.
have a
we had
small
a balance.
carryover.
We did.
Yeah,
We
so
did
you,
have care- yeah.
Yeah, we do have a.
We do have a carryover.
So
And-
that was my question, June, when we actually move money around. So we're in fiscal 26, so any revolving fund money that is spent this year, is it from fiscal 25?
no, that's the way the offset receipts used to work. But with the
Okay.
revolving, it's, the money is there and it's spendable at that.
In the same year, it doesn't have to be
Correct.
the
It's
existing pot
just-
of money, it's,
Yeah,
as
it's
you
just
go,
at
you-
the
Mhm.
beginning of every year when we do those revolving account limits on the spending.
right.
You still have to bring it in to be able to spend it, but
Right.
yeah, so that's all we have to do. And if they, at the end of the year, they don't spend all what they budgeted, it just stays right there
Sure.
and it'll roll into next year. It's not like with the offset, it used to close out at the end of the year.
Right. And so part of the benefit of that was being able to budget better, but also have that money roll over and not lose it. If you scroll to the third page, June, it shows that you were talking about some carryover from FY 25. It's 56,562.52 that was carried over. So it looks like in 25, the revolving fund brought in 156,000 and change. And there were about $100,000 in expenditures.
Okay, my next question is gonna be, do you know how much you've spent from it to date?
Yes. From the revolving fund, I
Revolving,
believe
yes.
we've spent a little over $31,000.
Mhm. But that's what we have to keep in mind is that is after taking 27,000 that the town allocated towards expenses, which was in the budget.
Right.
That got allocated first, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, you're taking out, right, whatever was planned for expenses, you're taking it out first, knowing that you're gonna eventually go there,
And-
plus you're gonna
and I
have
assume that
12,000
number goes
coming
away
up,
this
right?
year.
The 12,000 related to the
The 27,000 that's
capping?
allocated
Yes,
towards
yeah.
expenses.
It's still
does
also
obviously
coming
just
out.
get rolled into the revolving.
No.
No, you spend that first. We've been spending the expenses first
But do
from
we,
the town appropriations versus the revolving.
So
do we need to have
That's-
that town appropriation of the 27?
That's what I'm kind of getting at, because you're doing the reverse of that.
Yeah.
You're actually asking the town for more money this year as opposed to using more from the revolving fund.
Yeah, I don't think that's our intention. I think that we're just caught up in how we allocate
Right.
the
You don't
numbers.
Need
right,
it.
correct.
I think none of us think that, I think none of us from the board / transfer station manager think that we need more money from the town.
No.
If anything, I think we can use more of the revolving fund money.
So then do you feel that maybe you could increase the amount instead of it being the 145 at the bottom?
Yeah, I
Or
don't
do
see
you
why
think
not.
that-
I guess I don't understand how that translates into how the numbers appear on the town budget.
So if we go back up to the budget.
This would have been a good night to have my computer.
So the current year that we're in right now, the total amount that's being budgeted is the 275.
Okay,
And we're taking partially 27,000 for expenses and 48,000 from the regular appropriation line
Correct.
items.
that the town technically is paying for.
Right.
Yep.
And then we're doing the 12 and the 187, which I think if you go down just a little bit more, right there. It looks like we're appropriating the 57,000 total. And the budget for, so this I think was total of both of those. So it's this one and this one. So we'd have to look at it to see exactly what you're spending so far this year
Mhm.
and see where you're comfortable for next year. Cause I mean, like, you could just leave the whole appropriation for the wages up top and then just take more from the revolving to help offset the expenses.
Right,
I think
Do a clean calculation on the budget sheet.
Yeah,
well, I'd also read, I personally would prefer to show it to the town that that it's only, that now that we have the revolving fund, that it's only the wages that are being paid for and not any expenses.
you think you're gonna come up with 185 total?
I don't think they need that total though, June. That's what I'm trying to figure out because there's
Yeah.
13,000 more in expenses. So that's showing a 48% increase. But if Stan's talking about bringing in 165 and you're looking at the totals from last year, and if you're looking at the 145 rather, excuse me, that's there right now, if you were to bring that up $13,000 just to cover the increase in expenses, I think you would still be fine. You'd be at 158.
Right, we've taken in 153 already. And this is without factoring in any sort of price change next year for stickers. So this is, if we did nothing, if we kept the sticker sales the same, then we don't know about the number of customers we'd have, but if we kept the price the same, then the revenue in theory would be the same. But our trash costs are up dramatically.
Right. I was just going to ask, is there a correlation between the trash costs going up and you increasing the sticker cost to kind of help offset that a little bit?
Well, it's always kind of in arrears. I mean, because we get the price from BP during the year before we actually set the rates.
Right.
We're always kind of playing catch up with the sticker prices.
Is the increase primarily like the increase in cost and for
Both.
hauling
It's both.
or
It's
volume is
per
increasing?
It's
ton
both.
on disposal and hauling. And what we're looking at starting in July is a $10 increase on each of those categories from what it is this current year.
Which is what gets us, so we've run the calculation for what we have in total tonnage, what we've had for total hauls. And multiplied it out, and we expect to spend an additional 15,000 on trash removal.
Are you saying the increase in number of hauls also? Or is it
No,
primarily-
No,
Primarily
we're
just from the
using-
increase.
basically
in
using
cost.
this year's number of
This year's
hauls,
number, yeah.
Okay,
and then multiplying it times the increase that they're projecting.
Same with the tonnage, because the
Yes.
tonnage has been pretty
It's
consistent the
stable.
last 2 or 3 years.
okay. So it's just overall just charge from the disposal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think in answer to the question is, I think we could eliminate the request of the 13,000 and keep the labor dollars the same. But that's not actually keeping it the same, because we said we only put in 48 in the actual town budget last year for the labor dollars. We took 12,000 out of revolving.
Technically, if you needed it, I don't know where we stand on the wages for,
We're gonna be close.
Yeah, yeah.
We just, before we came in, we figured out. we
close
were
to
gonna
the
be-
48 or to the
Yeah, we're gonna be
60.
around 50. No, we'll be around.
Yeah, we're
50.
just a few thousand over.
Oh, so you won't use it all
No,
then?
be close. And then there's, of course, the 50-something thousand.
So you-
rollover from last
you,
year.
right, but you'd still need the 180 for expenses, right? But you would just be increasing your revolving by another 13,
Over the 145 or over the 180?
the 145.
Yes, over the 145.
So you just increase it on the bottom for the expenses.
Yes,
Gotcha. So instead of it being up in the wages, it would just drop down to the
Mhm.
expenses.
That's what I would think.
But just keep in mind, if you don't bring it in, you can't spend it.
Correct.
Really?
Yep.
Hmm.
That's the way it works. I'm sorry. I know.
Well,
I know.
I mean, we have.
There goes all their
I
fun.
know.
We have the benefit of having all of that, most of the majority of the money comes in.
Right,
which
right
is Why
away.
we worked
Early.
early.
Yeah.
Why the revolving fund
Yeah.
works for us. That
Right.
majority of
It's
it
all
comes in
front
early.
loaded.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's pretty much.
And if it doesn't all come in, then at least you can have some
Lay it off
time to,
everybody. Right.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and stop having the trash picked up and, yeah, all those things.
I was gonna come up with all sorts of ideas, but I can't say it because, yeah, it'll all come back.
Or when they bring the backhoe back to dig holes, we can just start.
No,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
no.
I was just gonna ask, I think that makes
Right,
sense on the
exactly.
expenses with the 13,000, but I'm trying to still understand, even with the 5% increase, why you would need another 12 to come out of the operating budget on the wages.
It's what? Because we took 12, we took 12 this year out of the revolving. So like, we could take a total, we could take 25 and not have. And not have any of it. But it was more about the steps and the cost of living, I think. As part of it for the labor piece. Because I don't think we have additional hours. Over last year. If anything, we had our labor hours where we kept the labor hours the same from last year. I think it's how it was allocated.
Say your question again, Kristen.
No, I understand what Stan's saying. I'm just trying to figure
Okay.
out, because the 5% increase on, so last year's request was 48,000. So if you say that's 50, a 5% increase is, well, 10% is 5, so 2,500. But there's 12,000 coming out now of the revolving, but I understand there's also that increase on the expense side. So I'm just trying to understand if the increase on the salary side is to kind of help offset that increase on the expense side. That's just the part I'm not following.
They're trying to determine whether or not they feel confident in the revolving fund to offset not just the added expense of 13,000, but to also keep the expense of the 12,000 that was used for wages this fiscal year still coming from the revolving fund. Is that your
Right.
question?
Yeah, so when I put it into the budget document, it's a 26.4% increase in wages and a 48% increase in expenses to the operating budget. So if the revolving fund is not covering enough and you need to ask for that additional funding from the operating budget instead of revolving, I think that's fine. I just think you're going to have to be able to explain it. You might get some questions on that.
I see what you're saying. I don't think
I'd have to look at what last year's actual budget looks like versus what this year's
Mhm.
budget to see exactly where the. I understand now what she's asking.
I do too, and I think. And based on our numbers of what we're actually gonna come in for labor, we're not gonna come in at 61,000 for labor.
Right.
We're only gonna come in around 50. So we don't really need the 12.
Right. June, maybe
correct.
you could sit down with Valerie and Paul and or Stan and just have a conversation and see where you guys land.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, because you're right. Looking at it that way, something is off, but. Yeah, we'll double check that.
I
Thank
would say
you.
I'm 100% confident we could make it work because of the because of the rollover from last year.
Yeah.
Is it sustainable year after year after year? Then I think you have to start getting into sticker prices and whatever. If we wanted to continue to not have anything else come out of the budget and always pay for the increases out of the revolving fund, and it's really gonna have to translate into sticker prices, and we try to keep the labor dollars where, you know, maybe the town pays for the labor dollars and the sticker prices pay for everything else. Or we try to get to the point where the revolving fund pays for all of it and the sticker prices pay for including the labor. And it's only the people who use the transfer station pay for the transfer station. That's always a possibility. I know that's kind of what Scott Hawkins was pushing for, or was talking about last year, was, you know, the cost of trying to cover the cost of transfer station with the transfer station. So something to work towards.
Well, and just to clarify, Stan, you make a really good point. I don't think you want to count on that rollover money. That's not sustainable in the long
Right.
term by any means. And I expected to see some increase for sure on the operating budget side. I just didn't anticipate that much. So that's what I was just trying to understand.
Yeah, I think it's really just more of this allocation piece. I think that our intention was not to increase the budget by 20% here and 40%. I mean, I think we just have to figure out this allocation, and because our costs have not gone up that much,
You just need to rework this sheet.
basically. Yeah.
Right. And I figured that was the case. It's new. The revolving fund is new. So I think it makes sense. You guys sit down on the financial side and figure it out, and we'll plug it into the budget, whatever the best number is that you come up with.
Sounds good.
And I'm glad we had the opportunity to talk it out, because that was the intention when we came to the meeting, was to have this kind of conversation and try to figure it out together.
Right.
Yeah.
From your perspective of where you think the cost, you know, where you think cost should be, and what is your thoughts for where the, you know, how the transfer station should be paid for?
And there's a number of changes going into this process this year, including you're coming in and changes in the revolving, so
Yeah,
it makes sense that you take another run at it.
yeah, be cautious.
And,
Well,
Yeah,
and also to state, none of this has to do with pay as you throw or any potential
Right.
changes of how we pay for things at the transfer
Exactly.
station at this point. None of that
Yeah.
has been implemented or budgeted. That was a survey to determine interest and to get some feedback. It's not planned for 2027.
Not planned for this next fiscal year. Still something you're exploring?
We're still exploring it. I think it's still the most equitable way to go, but it's also would be a lot of pushback. So
We're also looking at providing composting service and stuff like that.
maybe
but-
some added services that are going
Some
to,
added services, but they're small dollars compared to other things we're dealing with, but just to help us, our status with the DEP, because we get points from the DEP if we accomplish certain things, and they give us money. So we do have somewhere around $3,100 that we've received from the DEP that's in a separate account, which we can spend on
Certain
certain things, yeah,
certain
to
things,
find.
one of which could be a hazardous waste day, you know, something like that. One of the things that they give you a lot of money for is if you are a pay-as-you-throw community. They like that because it does vastly reduces the amount of landfill trash. That vastly increases the amount of recycling, reduces the amount of food scraps going into the trash. So they like the pay-as-you-throw system. So they strongly encourage towns to do it, and they do it financially by giving you more on these credits. So
Are there any towns near us that do that method?
most of the towns near us, Northborough does it, Shrewsbury went to it,
Yeah,
I think Clinton does too.
Yeah.
Clinton does
They
it, but
still
they
have
pay,
to
you have to pay
pick
per bag,
trash pickup.
even with
And-
curbside.
Well, they do trash pickup. I know Northborough.
But you still,
Right.
but you have to buy the
Right.
bags.
Yes,
It's not
yeah.
done through-
Right.
all those towns do have some issues
Yeah.
with the pay
yeah,
as you
there's-
throw. It's not necessarily,
Well, yeah.
you
it's not-
implement it and everything's all rosy. It
Right. it's
doesn't
not
work
fully
that
loaded,
way.
But
We'd have to increase staffing. There'd
Right.
be a lot of.
There's
moving-
monitoring,
a lot of
there's
moving
lots
parts
of
and
different stuff. There's
shifting to something like that.
potential loss of customer, you know, you get people who are gonna get all annoyed and leave. They'll probably be back the next year when they figure out what it really costs them to pay for private hauling, but.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think they'll
But there'd be a hit that first
quickly
year.
learn how quick,
Right.
they might have to wait a year.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that have to.
Have you gotten a substantial response with your survey?
Yeah, negative, substantially negative. People that I talk to, there's kind of a sweet spot of if you're age 55 to 70, you're gonna make out. Your kids are older, you're not generating as much trash, but you're still paying full sticker prices. So those folks would have fewer bags and they would make out. They would probably spend $50 to $70 less per year for their trash. Families with young kids are going to be spending that extra 50 to 75, and seniors would probably be about a break even. So, but then there's going to be a select group that currently does nothing to recycle, nothing to minimize their trash. And those are the folks that would see probably a doubling of their trash expenditure and would probably just go and throw their hands up and say, I'm not going to do this. I'll just pay for somebody to come pick up my trash kind of thing. So it's TBD how it would all shake out.
Yeah.
And that's where we would probably want to have a nice healthy balance in our rollover if and when we do implement it, because it would be a real guess as to what to charge per bag, what to charge per sticker, how many people are going to stay with you and stay with all of these costs and still do it. So that would be an interesting year. And then there's also labor components to it, and we'd have to have extra staffing to implement this and eyes on people. And there's, hopefully it doesn't get to the point where it's people dumping on the side of the road and highways having to pick stuff up. And, those are things that can happen. I would hope that they wouldn't, but.
Well, Stan, this is off the budget sheet, but on this idea, you mentioned the kitchen scrap element.
Mhm.
Did the DEP put out like numbers or percentages? Because,
What they consider to be in the trash currently.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
I haven't seen any.
No, I don't think they break it out that fine.
No.
I think that they talk about the amount of reduction in tonnage, but they
Okay.
talk about an increase in recycling and an increase in, I don't know if they break it out that finely. We might be able to get to that with them.
Yeah, the kitchen scrap piece, though, a big portion of that can be dealt with by composting. at
Of
home,
course, sure.
Right, of course. And one of the things, I think maybe we've talked about this, but and it is relevant to this budget and whether or not you do the pay by the bag
Yeah.
is, our 8th and 11th graders are required to do civics projects. And I know some of the schools in Worcester, the kids pick this trash business and the composting and recycling as an area of interest. And you might be able to get some messages into that age cohort where they're generating a lot of trash because they got kids around and
Right.
all that sort of thing. But you'd get, in terms of the tonnage we handle, you might get partway there if people became more active in.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful what you ask for too. I mean, we currently, right, I mean, if people recycle more, now you're handling that much more in recycling. So that's where our labor is handling recycling.
Well,
we had kids that
you're not recycling kitchen scrap if it's.
No, but what I'm saying, but the whole point of the pay as you throw idea is that you're pulling out both, so there's kitchen scrap
Exactly,
clearly.
okay.
But then there's also bottles
Okay.
and cans that are then coming in plastic and what have you, that's
Cardboard
coming out,
everything.
and cardboard.
So I'm
Probably
talking,
not so much that, but yes.
you're right, Stan, and I'm talking about an intermediate step before you
Yeah,
go to
the
pay, it is to really put an emphasis.
education piece. and
Education piece on
Trying to
specifically
reduce the amount.
doing some
that's-
home composting.
Yes, absolutely. And that absolutely would be a great,
Because you're going down to Lowe's and buying fertilizer, you don't really need to do that. Oh, by the way,
right.
yeah, but it's a habit, either people have or they don't, and. But I think with the students in the school having these projects, it would be nice to plant
Yeah.
that seed in.
Well, and if you believe the parents who come into the transfer station, the kids are the worst violators of all of this. They're the ones that are supposed to be the most involved in it and the most, the parents are, you guys are killing the earth and you're not gonna leave us anything. And yet apparently they're the ones that don't give a rip about recycling or doing anything the right way. And, you know,
Really,
'cause
they never
everything,
had Mr. Minahan in 8th grade because my kids did. They are.
all I can tell you is that
particular about
all I can tell you is every person that comes in, it's never their fault.
Right.
The
Yeah.
kids,
right.
the kids and the spouse.
Yeah.
Anytime you kept question somebody and what they've thrown in there. Of course, I didn't do that. It must have been the kids. Okay, how about you just say sorry and do it right then?
Try and clean
Just
it up.
always the kids, always the kids. those kids, they never do it right. I tell them and tell them, okay.
So,
Okay.
so you guys gonna redo something
Yeah,
here?
we're
and
gonna- we'll
Maybe,
get
maybe
together.
it'll
We're
show
gonna
up
get
in
together
our,
with Jim.
Google
Yeah.
Drive. Is it gonna show up in our Google Drive? So that
Sure.
we see how.
Magic,
how-
it'll be like magic.
Well, it is.
June
magic
and
drive.
Kristen do work
Yep.
magic.
Yeah, they do.
We'll
So
put it in the
before you-
drive. No magic involved, but we'll get it in there.
Kristen does that magic, not me. You still have two other,
Yeah.
if you just wanna touch base on them. The Neshoba,
Do we do the animal inspector?
you do, yes, I forgot about that one too, yeah,
Yeah.
so you still have,
Anything more on this one? We all set?
And we were okay on the Board of Health budget? That was the one we kind of quickly looked
Right.
over first.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Paul, I
Right.
didn't have a chance to upload those supplemental funding requests that you had brought in on Monday. I know one was for a hazardous materials waste day. Did you want to speak to that?
He's kind of,
Yeah, I did put in for two. We actually have a Zoom meeting with a hazardous waste firm Friday to try and circle the wagons on what this may actually cost. There's a state contract involved for the vendors, which obviously affects us as users, and it's not real clear to me. It's kind of convoluted, and I've talked to two different hazardous waste vendors, and I don't get very clear answers on what things cost, other than to come in and set up in the town is probably $4,500
$5,000, yeah.
just as a operational setup cost, and then whatever comes in for hazardous waste, that is what it is. And, there are multiple categories, Oil paint is one thing, pesticides is another rate. And we don't even know, what we're talking about at the board level is pursuing a registration situation to find out how many residents would actually participate in the hazardous waste day, how many want to.
What they
because
have. trying to
What,
get through some
and
sort of
trying to
inventory,
find out
yeah.
what they have so that we can come up with an approximate cost. The best number I've gotten, and again, it's loosey-goosey, the fellow we're talking with on Friday told me we'd probably be looking at somewhere 7,000 or a little bit more. I put in a supplemental request for 8,000. We do have money from the DEP that we can put to it, about $3,100. But again, we're not going to open, it would be open to all residents, whether they have a sticker or not. But in terms of how much each resident should pay is going to be based on what they bring in. And that's just it's
Shot
a
in the dark.
swamp to
Yeah.
try and figure out at this
It's
point.
hard to budget, because if you're looking to do offset with fees for what the residents bring in, that amount is going to depend on the quantity coming in, and
The
so.
volume, the quantity, the weight,
The
the
stuff is
volume.
more expensive than
If
it.
you, yeah, if you had a couple of years' history, you'd know what to do, but we have no
Right.
history.
Stan and I did go to a hazardous waste facility in Sutton to get rid of things that were generated
By the
last
transfer
Earth
station,
Day.
or- Yeah. but yeah, right.
Transfer station, and there were three different categories. Some stuff was $1 a pound, some material was $3 a pound.
Mm.
some
We didn't
was
have a lot of
$2,
stuff and we spent
$500,
$500 and we got it all in a pickup truck and it was $500.
and the pickup
So-
truck was nowhere near full.
Yeah, and it was not like this giant pile of stuff. So it's expensive to get rid of these items. And so the number that they give us for what it's gonna total cost, that the difference between that 4,500 and the 7,000 or 8,000 that they're saying is this kind of amorphous sort of
Mm.
quantity of some sort of materials with no real definitive answer, like pounds of this or gallons of that, or they just say it'll be about this. And so that's what we're trying to nail down with them on Friday. And then maybe we can get a better idea of what we would want to charge residents to come in. Is it going to cost $10 a gallon to get rid of a oil-based paint? Is it going to cost whatever much and brake fluid? And I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that people are going to have that they're going to want
I
to.
mean, the price sheet that we get from the state has, for 5 gallons, it's this much, for 30 gallons, it's this much, for 55 gallons, it's this much.
How much
Yeah.
are we
We don't
gonna
know,
take in?
you know, how much are we gonna take in?
It's survey driven, so
Oh, yeah.
almost every resident that filled out the survey said that
Want
they
to
wanted a
hazardous waste.
hazardous waste day.
So we know there's a big demand for it. but
Yeah,
we
and with
don't
the
know
cost of
what's the-
joining Devon's or the Wachusett Earth Day in West Boylston, that carries a yearly fee. So
Right.
it's something I think we really wanted to try to make happen.
Yeah.
And see how it went. We just don't
I
know.
was gonna say, also, you would probably be, if you're collecting fees, you'd want to make sure you keep that in mind when you're doing the, how much can you use them, the revolving to help offset those
Right.
type of.
Well, we would, the burden of actual disposal really needs to fall on the individuals that bring things in. And that's difficult to ascertain, really. Right now, to book a hazardous waste day where a company comes in and sets up at our transfer station, the earliest we can do it is spring of 27.
Wow.
This whole year is booked up. The only option they gave me is, well, you could have your residents come in, you guys collect it, and then we'll come in, look at it and give you a price. And I'm going, no, I don't think we're gonna get that room.
Yeah. and
Here's your
that's-
bill. Yeah.
People are gonna expect to have a price list to bring
Yeah.
it in. Nobody's gonna collect their stuff and then come and go, nope, I'll just. Maybe I'll take it back to my house.
They want the car come in $100? No, no.
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I'll bury it in my kitchen.
Well,
trash.
Even though we don't have the history, you can borrow from some of these other places that have some history and have how much they charge their residents for the price list that you're
Mhm.
talking about, Scott. So you could borrow that. And the thing, I think the trick is, and we're dealing with the budget and what's going to go in the operating budget, what are we going to ask the town to appropriate? Is that if you have, you got to go to the high end of one of these vendors and say, okay, we're going to do a day. This is what it's going to cost. This is our best estimate of what it's going to cost. And we can do it, we can put that in the budget that goes for the town to look at and appropriate. And then if we're fortunate and the pricing is right on the price list, you can completely offset that. We don't spend it, but it has to be in the budget in order to schedule the day. So
Yeah,
that's.
it would be tough to pay for it all with the customer, that $4,500 setup. That would be kind of onerous, putting that all on the people bringing in their stuff. Because for them to pay,
Sure.
what they're gonna have to pay to get rid of stuff, and like I said, we paid $500 to get rid of, probably 12 individual items of things. So you're looking at $40 or so. So now then on top of that, if 200 people use it and you want to divide that by the $4,500, everybody else is going to have to pitch in another $20 just to participate. So now it starts getting up there if you want to totally offset it.
Well, the 4,500, I mean, is that their
For the
setup based
privilege of
on
having
the
it.
size of the town, or is that their same setup if they go to Marlboro?
Pretty much the same setup.
It's a privilege.
So basically, we have a very, big set cost up front,
Mhm.
relative to the size of the town, that we're gonna make everything
Right.
that,
But we could use that DEP money that we have too. So there's some of that.
Would you let a Boylston resident participate?
Only if we know we're covering all of our costs, only if we know what we're charged. I mean, that would almost be one where we'd want to have two separate price points where we have a price for resident, a price versus.
Boylston
non-resident.
actually belongs to the Wachusett Earth Day Sterling.
So they're covered. They're covered
They
there.
go there, yes.
We could go
yeah.
there.
So how much are they paying? Do you
Well,
know?
I know that, I don't know about Wachusett, but I know Devon's is about $5,600 up front just to get in the door. And it's like another $2,000 every year just to belong.
Well,
And then,
Then
then it's up to the resident
To
to
pay
do
for the
their
rent.
hazardous waste there,
Yeah.
and they pay.
guys,
Yeah,
I think
that's-
this might work out. I think these price breaks might work out. Now that I'm hearing a few numbers. Might
But
work
Price
out.
break.
but when you belong to something like Devon's or Wachusett,
Mhm.
that's something that's all year. It's not just a day. It's something they can access all
Yeah,
year
they
long.
have
2
multiple.
days a week.
Yeah.
They can
multiple
access it.
days.
Right.
But our residents don't want to go to Sutton.
Right.
And we've said, well, Devon, Devon's is a that's too far.
So we'd be asking them to pay the $7,000 or $8,000
And then have to travel.
and then have to travel and then pay to get rid of the
Right.
stuff.
Minutes to get to dispose of it.
Side of the road becomes easier. As we find out on Earth Day.
Yes.
Or they know if they just ditch it at the transfer station and we have to
Yeah,
take care
that's
of
the other
it.
one. Yeah, that's the other good one. They thought that.
It ultimately comes to the transfer station.
The other supplemental fund Kristen was referring to has to do with the landfill, the DEP mandated landfill closure assessment, we'll call it. And I put a number of 30,000, and that is total guesstimate, and that would cover, well, it would go to covering contractor would come in and bore however many test holes the DEP wants and some initial monitoring. The thing with these test wells for water monitoring and methane gas monitoring is that the DEP requires ongoing monitoring, which can go on for years. Now, I don't know what an annual cost of monitoring, once all is said and done, again, we're gonna be looking at carrying some number into the future for the DEP required monitoring.
So that ongoing cost, Paul, is gonna be sample retrieval and lab.
Yeah,
lab business. That's not
I
gonna be
can't
numbers.
imagine it being a huge number by any means.
I can give you some actual numbers.
Oh, good, okay. So the 30,000 I threw out is just to get the monitoring wells board. And we'll see what else the DEP requires. And the last 9 holes that we have to dig in the spring to determine the landfill perimeter, we actually have to hire in a machine because the highway backhoe is not big enough, doesn't have enough reach, so we have to bring in an actual excavator. So there'll be probably 2 days of excavator cost, drop up, bringing the machine in and out. And, I don't know, that could be $5,000.
And is that in addition to the 30,000?
No, that's separate, that's before the 30,000.
Before.
I'm gonna talk to local excavators and try and get some numbers and base it on a couple days. Couple days worth of work.
What was that 150,000? That the number that Kristen, are you?
Yeah, that was do the special article. For 150, but I don't know.
For cap, is that is that?
Yeah, that was
What's
in
the
FY.
page caption? Sorry, Kristen.
On the Board of Health budget, there was on the 5-year outlook. It was
Okay.
an FY 28 landfill capping, I believe, which
5-year
is
outlook.
different from what Paul is speaking about,
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
That's just like a preview of coming attractions, if you will, in FY 28 potentially. I may have a suggestion for the initial hazardous waste day and monitoring. Since we don't know the costs, we could potentially do a special article that would encapsulate for the landfill. And we could write it in such a way that it could encapsulate any testing, monitoring, and set up fees for hazardous materials waste day. We did just get free cash certified. I sent it to you all today, I believe, at 2.8 million. So we do have a bit of free cash that I think it might make sense to start an article for those 2 items.
I like that idea, Kristen. Thank you.
Did we completely close out there was a landfill capping that sat on the
A
books for
long,
years. I mean, it was not a small amount, but.
quite a
Did we
few
close
years
it
ago.
out, or
Yeah,
is it-
because I think it was under 10 grand. Or
Yeah, it was
It
like
was
10
a-
grand. It was
was
ridiculously
never
small, but I
gonna,
just wanted
like,
to see if
yeah.
it was.
Nope, it's gone.
And the results of the work that's gonna continue this spring is gonna determine, well, the DEP will review that, and they will then come back and say, okay, it need to add another foot of whatever material on top of 3 to 4 acres, or we don't know what they're gonna say because we don't know the depth of the cap material right now.
So Paul, if we do the Kristen's suggestion an article on this, then it would be a multi-year article, yeah? Or the spending.
Yeah, we don't use the expiration dates anymore, so.
Right, okay.
And then you could replenish it when it runs out.
Yeah, and if you don't need it, then you just close out the article.
Mm.
Okay.
You know,
And we
move
can do
along.
that closure administratively now, as long as it doesn't have a sunset date on it. There is a benefit to a sunset date for certain articles because you don't want to leave things on the books forever. But without that sunset date, June can work with the department heads and the boards and me and say, okay, we're done with this article, we're going to close it out, or we can replenish it. And what I'm used to seeing is an annual town meeting article for stormwater, which may be coming down the pike at some point, and for the landfill, because those are ones you don't always know what it's going to be every single year. So you keep the article and you replenish it as needed.
If we can call it capped or make it capped, we can put a solar field out there and pay for all the
That's-
electric, all the town's electric bills.
I love that.
That's the
Not the
ultimate goal,
residents,
is
but
to
the
get a
town-
certified
town.
closure statement from the DEP. Once we have that, then we could put a solar field down there.
Pay for the highway barn, pay for this building, all our electric needs.
Oh, look at that.
Ah.
And we're gonna keep Val to help us with all the.
Yes, we.
The tracking.
Sizing up a chain for her ankle right now.
You can't have her.
Well, I think it's important to tell the residents the benefit of cleaning up this whole, a cap in the landfill and doing that. We're not just doing it.
It's not just an expense.
Right, no, there's a goal, a positive goal at the end of it.
Yes. There's a reward for doing these things that we'd rather not do.
We have 2 more budgets, right? Animal inspector, oh, these are the contentious ones, if I recall.
Easier ones.
Animal.
Because it-
I believe what
It's
I
not
submitted to the next
Stand with the charge.
newspaper talks about
I
that.
keep
The ultimate
sheet of
goal
that all
for
the
the
time.
DEP work is to get a solar field, Powderhouse News.
Yeah, because you want the word to get out that,
Yeah.
that there's a,
Trying to
Also-
get it out.
On a handout when you walk out
Yeah.
from the transfer station and
Oh,
in
good.
the office.
good.
So nothing too much here on the animal inspector, just increase in the wages of $77. Expenses level funded.
She did not anticipate anything increased. for our folks.
3% COLA and step increase. Any other questions on that?
I don't know what you're gonna make me dizzy, Scotty. Keep doing it.
Just look once and
No,
then
no
that's it.
expenses
Yeah.
for her.
Well, she had.
Yeah,
funded,
level
but it was
funded.
level funded. And next we have,
Give it a
511.
styrofoam
Neshoba.
Health. No, that was
The health
one?
environmental.
That's environmental.
No, this is right. It's formal.
It doesn't matter.
They changed,
yeah.
yeah, it's this new name.
Yeah.
It used to be
Yeah.
called health
oh, you should fill it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
and community health. is
okay,
the-
so we want the, all
Both of them. 'cause
Formerly
the-
was
the-
Neshoba Nursing.
They're 2 different things, but
Okay.
Yeah.
you want both of them.
right, we'll go with environmental first here.
Contracted services.
3,800.
We have 0 control over it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that we've attached their assessments.
What's their
It's
assessment?
really just by.
Yep.
Yeah.
They went up
So they're just
30%
looking
for
at the
everyone.
increase, or is it across the board for their,
There, as you can
Increase
see,
assessments
they have.
30%.
things
They
going
went a
on.
long time without increasing at all, and then
Yeah.
the last few years, they. Usually it's a surprise. Well, you guys were lucky this year. You got it ahead of time.
And that's across the board with other communities as well. I've spoken
Yep.
to a couple of town administrators. It's a large percentage increase, but not a large dollar increase. And I think that we experience significant savings from being part of the Regional Health Alliance. And I can't say enough about Bill Brookings. He's been fantastic to work with.
Yeah, he needs to stay around forever.
Mhm.
Okay, and then community health. Same thing, increase of 1,700.
So explain to me the difference between Neshoba Environmental and Neshoba Community Health. What are,
The health has to deal with their nursing service and the services they provide. The environmental fundamentally is Bill Brookings. As a registered sanitarian who we need dealing with wells and septic systems and so forth.
Restaurant stuff.
And I was gonna say,
Yeah, that goes beyond Bill Brookings. There are other members in the show, but Bridget, who deals with food service and
Mhm.
they also will deal with housing issues and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
They also brought their nursing services back monthly down in the COA room. I think it's the first Tuesday. But anybody in the community is welcome to come see.
And the two new nurses on their staff will be at 19 Carter next Tuesday for an hour or two.
Public health nurse.
and that's at no additional cost to this, to the people
No,
that
that's-
choose to use that service. It's
Yeah,
part of what we're
right.
Mhm.
paying here.
And they'll set up vaccinations and all that.
I
Okay.
think they do blood pressure checks.
Blood pressure,
Uh,
one, I've
yeah.
never seen that.
Yeah.
at
No.
one time they did do dental cleanings or something at the school. It was at the school. It was a program they had. I don't know if they still do that or not, but they used to.
I'm gonna guess no, I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah,
I do remember that when my kids were there. I
yeah,
think maybe the participation from.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we live in a community where
right,
most families can and do
yeah.
provide that for their families.
For the last 3 months, I think they haven't even had the public health nurse come.
They
So the fact that they're fully staffed now, it's nice that they're able to come
Yeah.
back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we actually didn't have it. 'cause
Yeah,
they
yeah,
couldn't-
sure.
Yeah.
Nine o'clock.
Other questions
There is.
on that?
That's,
Nine.
Any other
This is the
comments?
stand that I used to say that if it was 9 o'clock, we're done. That's the stand. Yes, this is the stand.
All right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I don't have anything else, Scott, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you
Thank
guys,
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
So you're gonna let
Nice
us
to
know
meet
when you
Yeah,
want to
do you
get
want to drive
together?
that or?
Yeah.
I'm sure they're.
Whatever.
lucky.
Yeah.
It's very
Let-
thankful to
let
have
us
you
know
on
where
board
to show
now.
up.
oh, I'm
Okay.
I'll be there.
happy to be here.
This is,
Okay,
that's
good.
that,
As long as it's not on Wednesdays.
Yeah, you're popular.
right, all Wednesday, but it can be Wednesday morning, you can do it.
Oh,
8 o'clock
okay.
Wednesday morning.
Try.
Yeah, Absolutely,
All right.
All right.
thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right,
Hey,
Have a good night.
we'll see you in all the
Good.
usual places, Dave.
indeed you will. Indeed you will.
We better.
Thanks, everybody.
We do not have any transfers at this time. I did want to bring up, I do need to sit down with Kristen to find out. We had one for legal that we're gonna need to work on doing that, and electricity, there's a possibility of it too, but I need to get better figures before we ask for that. And I believe today Fred came in looking for the possibility of having to spend, overspend the snow and ice counts because of the storms.
I wonder why.
But Kristen may not have seen it yet because I gave him the paperwork that he had to write up to give to Kristen to get approval, and then it goes through. I believe the select board have to vote on it and you have to allow it, and then, so hopefully no snow before that.
When does Mother Nature have to pay for some of this?
I think
That's
you're
what
right.
I want to know,
Where do we send that bill?
right?
Oh, yeah.
Paul just does it for fun.
You can tell.
Paul's an elected head of the Board of Health.
Okay. And
So those two are town employees, part-time.
part-time.
Yep.
Have you been to our transfer station?
No, I don't.
Why don't
Oh, you
probably
need to
get a
go and-
sticker and start using it. It's a lot of fun.
You could just go and visit with them.
Just go see it
You could just wander.
on
through.
Jones
So,
Road.
If you want to see like what it's all about.
Yeah,
It's not like there's somebody at the gate that's gonna say, you can't enter because you don't have a sticker.
And you show up on Saturdays, that's when you're running everybody else in town. So.
Get the gossip.
8 and 4, that's the,
In the good weather, they have a little shed there that is the Berlin Mall. See, you can
Oh,
take
it's
it or
the
leave
give and
it.
take.
Oh, yeah, I want to go to that.
Well, does she need a sticker? They left.
Do I need a sticker to?
I don't
go
know.
to the-
I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to ask Stan.
I think she just need to be bold, and
Yeah,
and give it a
I love
try.
lawn things.
You would be surprised
Yeah.
what you could find in that shed.
Kristen, did you know of any other transfers that we might need?
I do not at this time.
Okay,
And I didn't know I lived near the other one, the Hudson one.
You're off Gates Pond
Yeah.
in that area. Yeah, I
So
don't
where
know.
is it? I
I,
looked on the map.
I
it looks
actually
like-
don't know myself. I was under the assumption it was actually up near Gates Pond until they just clarified that.
yeah, no, if you're at the top of Marlboro, Gates Pond,
Yeah.
if you go up, it's
around
right
the
there.
loop, Yeah.
It's right there.
But there's
No.
houses,
You're not gonna go left if you're on Marlboro Road,
Marlboro, the stop sign.
Gates Pond.
Yeah, take the
right?
left.
You're gonna take the right there. On the top of Marlboro.
Oh, okay.
Well, it
Like
comes
you're gonna
down-
head back to Hudson.
they had the
Yes,
Okay.
stop sign or traffic light there. but-
no,
Mhm.
wrong end.
Okay. it's
Go
the other
Gates
end.
Pond
Oh,
Road.
The other,
You're on River.
right.
You need to be up on Marlboro, top of Marlboro, Gates Pond,
Okay,
and it's pretty much right in that area.
okay.
What's Marlboro?
It's a road
It's, you know where the four-way intersection is?
on,
where-
on River Road,
on
Chapin
River,
Road
Chapin.
Yeah, I live off that.
Where the
Okay, so
four-
to the top,
of Marlboro.
there's a stop sign and like Gates Pond runs here.
Mhm.
You're gonna go right.
Oh, go right.
Instead of left,
Yep.
where you, the direction you usually
So
go.
you're, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's right over there?
And it should be just,
Oh, here we go.
That's probably why I would
Sure.
go too, because I hardly ever
Well,
drive.
before
on
we get to that
stretch,
point,
Gates Pond.
Let's finish our business, then we can show you on the other thing. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
No.
I just, out of curiosity, Kristen, I'm not being pushy, it just happened to be a topic of discussion in my household about the parking lot at Tohoto. My husband usually doesn't get very concerned about anything that happens in town, he just likes to complain. But, he.
You're
He-
you're on.
He
the
said
video.
that with
that's o-
love.
That's okay.
Hi, Charlie.
Every once in a while, he does have a bit of information though. He is kind of concerned about this parking lot plan because of the material that would have to be used. And the maintenance of it is completely different than a paved parking lot. And I think first of all, I don't think they've even estimated maintenance costs. They're just looking at engineering and actually creating the parking lot. I really think the maintenance cost of it seriously needs to be explored because of the type of material, because he claims that you can't even plow it. Never mind that that there would have to be some sort of snow removal. It would have to be complete snow removal by something other than a plow. Because a plow going across that would just destroy it and it would end up having to be,
Could you use like a big blower?
well, see,
Like a
that's the
snow
thing too. I
blower?
mean, what are we getting the town of Boylston into? Because even though Boylston, I believe, is responsible for the plowing and the so
Yeah.
forth because of the location of Tohoto.
Oh,
I mean, it's kind of, we kind of share the expense of the school altogether. How much do we want to really blow that budget up?
Yep.
It's a good question, Heidi. And in fact, when I was looking over my notes today for the meeting, I realized that I had forgotten to ask Al that question. So I actually emailed him today to
Okay.
ask him about maintenance and snow removal versus plowing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Charlie's 100% accurate in this because we obviously don't know the exact material that's going to be used, but in his experience, it creates a whole new scenario when it comes to snow and maintenance.
I'll forward that answer as soon as I get it back. That's my fault that I missed it when
Oh,
I was
no,
going
I
through my
didn't
notes.
expect you- I mean, I know we made note on it at the last meeting, but, yeah, I just had additional information on it.
Well, any capital project, it's always good to say what's are you going to increase operational costs? You're going to drop them. So obviously this proposed construction would increase operational costs. So, okay, so then you got to think about that in a budgeting kind of way and fortunately think about it before you enter into that capital project and decide if you want to, the total cost of that project isn't just the engineering and build out. It is
Yeah.
running it.
And are you setting Boylston up for, then they go to their town meeting requesting some kind of specialized highway equipment to use, you know, we may have a winter where we get one snowstorm, we may have a winter where we get 10 of them.
Mhm.
What's their
Yeah.
cost and their value?
Yeah.
It's an important question. I certainly agree.
So Scott, you've got a map up for us, Scott?
Yeah.
We're looking at,
We
we
can cover that after the meeting.
after the meeting. All right, all right. You got my eye.
All right, so.
Motion to
anything
adjourn?
else? Yes, we do a motion to adjourn. Okay,
Seconded?
all right, all those in favor, aye? Aye. We are adjourned.